Monmouth is undefeated at home.
You'll never hit a bigger home run. Floyd, that's why you became a superstar.
I think we could definitely come together as a team and.
Not possible!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Extra Point. I'm your host, Danielle Axelrod. We have an awesome show lined up for you guys this week. We're going to be talking to 3 of your very own Monmouth football players later on. But first, I'm going to send it over to the pro spot with Matt and Joe. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Can't complain, Matt. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's been a good week so far. How about you? You all right?
I'm all right. You know, we had a tough weekend with Monmouth sports, but we'll talk about that later. So you guys want to get started?
Absolutely. The Carolina Panthers defeated the Green Bay Packers 37-29 in the premier game of Week 9. Panthers quarterback Cam Newton threw for 297 yards and 3 touchdowns, guiding the Panthers to their 8th straight win to start the season. Aaron Rodgers countered with 369 yards and 4 touchdowns, but it would not be enough as the Packers dropped their 2nd consecutive game after starting 6-0.
The Denver Broncos suffered their first loss of the season, coming up short against the Indianapolis Colts 27-24. Andrew Luck threw for 252 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Frank Gore accumulated 83 yards and 1 touchdown for the Colts. Broncos tight end Owen Daniels led both teams with 102 receiving yards, also catching the game-tying touchdown in the 4th quarter. With the Denver loss, there are only 3 undefeated teams remaining: New England, Cincinnati, and Carolina.
Antonio Brown had a career day catching 17 passes for 284 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers in a 38-35 shootout against the Oakland Raiders. Oakland quarterback Derek Carr threw for 301 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Pittsburgh quarterback Ben Roethlisberger left the game with an ankle injury in the 4th quarter. DeAngelo Williams guided the Steelers on the ground, rushing for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both teams still have major stakes in the playoff chase.
The Golden State Warriors remain undefeated on the season, defeating the in-state rival Los Angeles Clippers 112-108. Steph Curry led the way for the Warriors with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Chris Paul led all scorers for the Clippers, contributing 24 points, 3 rebounds, and 9 assists.
The Toronto Raptors lost their first game of the season Friday night in Orlando with the final score of 92-87. Magic forward Tobias Harris scored 20 points and grabbed 9 rebounds, while Raptors guard DeMar DeRozan scored 23 points and had 7 rebounds.
Kobe Bryant played what could be his final game at Madison Square Garden on Sunday, scoring 18 points in 32 minutes of action. The New York Knicks played spoiler, defeating the Los Angeles Lakers 9.
Still remain on top of the Pacific Division.
Jakob Kindle scored the game-winning goal for the Detroit Red Wings in overtime, defeating the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1. Henrik Zetterberg scored the other goal for Detroit, while Toronto's lone goal came from Dion Phaneuf in the 3rd period.
Round 2 of the MLS playoffs are in the books, bringing on the conference finals on November 22nd. The New York Red Bulls and the Columbus Crew match up in the East, while FC Dallas and Portland duel in the West. Both matchups will consist of a 2-leg home-and-home series based on goals scored.
We're now going to send it over to Yasmin for this week's Hawks Hotspot.
Thanks, fellas. How was your weekend?
Weekend was pretty good. I know Matt and I were watching a lot of football. Hawks didn't have as much success as his Patriots and my Jets did. But Yas, take it away.
You got it, guys. It was a rough weekend to be a Hawk as the men's and women's soccer teams, along with field hockey, headed into their conference tournaments as the top seed, but couldn't hoist the trophy. Carly Figelou's field hockey squad was knocked out of their semifinal matchup against Fairfield 2-1. The Hawks scored an equalizer with 3 minutes remaining in the game, but was quickly waved off as the ball hit a Hawks body. Women's soccer came into the MAC tournament with high expectations after finishing with the regular season on top of the conference. As the hosts, they welcomed the Siena Saints in a semifinal match, which did not lack excitement. Monmouth fell behind early 2-0, but MU got a goal back thanks to penalty from junior forward Erica Murphy in the 62nd minute. From that moment, the Hawks kept pushing for a tying goal, but it didn't come as they fell 2-1. Down in Orlando at ESPN's Wide World of Sports, Coach Rob McCourt and the men's soccer team won the regular season crown, but knew an NCAA tournament bid was still up for grabs. After winning both their quarterfinal and semifinal games by the score of 2-1, they faced a tough challenge in the championship match with state rivals, the Rider Broncos. It was a 5-goal thriller, but Monmouth could not prevail as they lost 3-2. As we head into the winter sports, I'll have all of your updates and info. Stay tuned right here for more Extra Point on Hawk TV, channel 12.1.
After school today, I will be dead. I can't go on any longer. Nobody even knows I exist. They pass through me like air, like nothingness. That's what I am. Nothing.
Welcome back to the Extra Point. I'm Lexi Swat here with Tony Lintaranto, and we are joined today by members of the Monmouth football team, Hakeem Vallis, Joe Johnson, and Andrew Jarzynski. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Now I'll start with Hakeem. The football team is known for its changes within the past few years, and you three have been a part of those changes, changing from the NEC to an independent season to the Big South. How was that experience? And what did you learn?
Definitely learned a lot, starting with the NEC. I think we were in the NEC my freshman and my sophomore year. A little bit lower level of competition. Then we moved to the independent, which was we kind of had a scattered schedule. And now we're locked in the Big South. And it's definitely the highest amount of competition that we've seen since I've ever played football. We had a rough time in the Big South last year. We only won one game. But we learned a lot as a team, and we learned that we didn't want to ease into the Big South like, oh, Mom, it's just that team that's just going to work their way into the Big South. Like, we wanted to make a statement. Starting out with this year, we already made the statement by beating Liberty, a ranked team, being in that close game with Coastal, the #1 team in the country. And then we have 2 more games left in the season, and I think we've learned a lot in this whole journey. It's been 5 years, but it's sad, but it's coming to an end.
Now, Joe, as a program, what have you seen as the greatest change between that transition stage?
I think it's just the attitude in the locker room. As we move to the Big South, we can now recruit a higher level of athlete to come into our program, and I think that you're starting to see that with the games that we're putting together this season and how it's been last season, and I think that growth is going to continue to happen over the next couple of years.
And we were talking about changes as a team. Now, Hakeem, you made the transition last season from wide receiver to tight end. How has that been? Were you happy about it at first? Explain your thoughts on it.
I decided to make that change about a year and a half ago after I was playing behind, as everybody should know, Neil Sterling, the 7th round draft pick on the Jacksonville Jaguars. He just got activated, which is awesome. But I was playing behind him, meaning I wasn't getting that much playing time, or the playing time that I wanted to get. And at the time, we had a void in the tight end position due to injury. And I asked Coach Gallo and Coach DeMuzio at the time, and they thought it'd be a good thing and a good fit. And so 10 days in the camp, I made that transition, and it was kind of rough because I was raw at first at the tight end position. I didn't really know how to do some of the techniques and things like that. But I had the whole off season and the whole summer to sharpen up those techniques and all that kind of stuff, and I think it's working out pretty well.
And this season you have 20 receptions for 213 yards. What are some goals going into the last 2 games of the season?
I think my biggest goal is definitely to get into the end zone. It's been a long season. I still haven't been able to get in there. Kind of got robbed of 2 touchdowns. I'm not going to talk about that though. But I definitely want to get in the end zone. But first and foremost, I definitely want to win these last 2 games, go out with a win.
Now, you talked earlier about your win against Liberty, the first ranked win against a ranked opponent. Andrew, because you had such a successful game career-wise, what do you think it means as a senior to win a game like that as compared to maybe the underclassmen on the roster?
I mean, we've all been here for so many years, and just to win a game like that was extremely emotional. And just how we won in overtime and everything, it was just an awesome experience.
And you had the interception for 26 yards and a sack. What were the thoughts going through your head? Like, how excited were you? What were you thinking?
I mean, I was extremely excited and probably a little surprised. It's not too often defensive linemen get interceptions. And I was just really, like, pumped up with the sack.
So now, because we're with seniors, let's get a little nostalgic. You were also the first team to travel the farthest, going all the way out west. I'll give this one to Joe. Traveling to Montana State, what was that experience like?
The trip to Montana was awesome. I mean, it was my first time ever on an airplane, so the first couple minutes weren't very fun. I got a little bit motion sick. But I mean, just traveling out there in general was awesome. We went on a little team hike. A couple guys got lost, but I mean, it was a great experience. We were also able to see a caliber of opponent that we hadn't really seen before, and I think that moment really helped us moving forward, and it was the beginning of the growth you see today.
So now you're a little more prepared when you have to fly for a game?
Yeah, I can deal with it now.
All right, excellent. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned with us on this week's episode of The Extra Point, only on Hawk TV, channel 12.1.
Odds of becoming an astronaut, 1 in 13,200,000. Odds of being struck by lightning, 1 in 576,000. Odds of dating a supermodel, 1 in 88,000. Odds of bowling a perfect game, 1 in 11,500. Odds of being trapped in an elevator, 1 in 24,528. Odds of catching a ball at a major league game, 1 in 563. Odds of an injury from shaving, 1 in 6,585. Odds of tripping while texting, 1 in 10. Odds of getting cancer in your lifetime, 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women.
It's up to us.
To change the odds for our generation.
For the ones we love.
For our future.
If you don't like the odds, stand up. Stand up to cancer.
Welcome back to The Extra Point. I'm Tony Lynn Toronto, Lexi Swat. We're here with 3 Monmouth seniors. We left off with Joe, so we're going to go back with you. Out of the 3 of you, you are the only true senior.
Yeah.
So how does that feel, being like 4 years and
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because normally I'm the old guy and then I sit next to these 2 and I'm the youngest out of all of them. But I mean, it was a weird circumstance. Freshman year, I wasn't quite ready to play, but due to injuries, I kind of got thrown out there. I think that helped me become the player that I am today and the leader that I am today, because I went through a lot of hardship in my younger years just to get to the point where I am now. And I think that helps out a lot of people that are younger than me that have been in the same situation.
Got you. And you have 38 solo tackles this season. You have 2 interceptions for 53 yards. What do you attribute that success to? Like, how do you do it?
I think it's just a product of the defensive scheme being really good. I mean, the 10 guys on the field with me, they're playing their heart out every play. And I mean, as a corner, my job gets way easier when the rest of the defense is doing their job. So I mean, I kind of just end up in the right spot and hope everybody else handles what they need to do.
Now, we've talked a lot about on the sideline and on the field, but what a lot of people don't know is that you 3 are actually pretty close. As friends, correct? And in particular, Joe and Hakeem, you guys have quite the history. So we just kind of want to go back and just ask a few questions. So I'll start with Joe. On May 14th, 2015, you tweeted, "Keem made Big South first team all ugly." We just want to know, what's the criteria to make Big South first team all ugly?
You know, I think there's just a certain look that they go for. You know, like it's a combination of a bunch of different things. And Hakeem, you know, he just does a great job of embodying all of that. You know, so like I was there when he got the phone call saying that he had gotten chosen to the team, and it was just a great moment.
All right, now I think I don't think it started with Joe. I think it started with Hakeem, right?
Yeah. Okay. On March 31st of 2015, you tweeted, "Joe Johnson looks like an old pair of collapsed Uggs that lean inwards."
So
Thoughts on that? What prompted that?
When you walk around, you know, the Monmouth University campus on your average winter day, strolling through the dining hall, or you know, just in your average pathway walk, you'll probably see around 5 to 6 pairs of Uggs that lean inwards because they've been worn too much, so they're quite collapsed. But if you look at your basic Ugg and the basic Ugg color, and you look at the skin complexion of my friend here, Joe, and just because, you know, the collapsed Ugg is just like kind of worn out, I mean, you got Joe here.
Well, it didn't just stop there, we found. So on June 15th, 2015, Joe tweets, "The best thing about my future is that I won't see Keem too often. Good for my eyes." Now, Joe, you wear glasses, right?
Yeah.
Is that why you wear glasses?
I have really bad eyes, and the doctors told me that like they're just not gonna get any better until I'm separated from certain circumstances. So that's kind of just what I was alluding to.
So we wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
On July 1st of 2015, Hakeem, you tweeted, "Joe Johnson looks like canned evaporated milk."
Nobody even knows what that looks like.
How do you know
story.
what that looks like?
Funny story. I actually have some at my house. I was actually showing Jack Tucci the other day, one of our roommates. It's when I make hot chocolate, it makes the milk a little bit sweeter.
So you use the evaporated milk?
Yeah, I use it.
I make things sweeter is what he's trying to
It
do.
looks like a job.
Of course. Gotcha. So then finally, it ends with, on July 19th, 2015, "You know the feeling when you want an omelet and Carlos isn't in the dining hall. That's how I feel when I see Keem." Now, Carlos isn't even here anymore.
Yeah. So that's how I feel every
that's
day.
Okay.
And Joe Johnson looks like whatever sulfur smells like.
What does sulfur smell like?
You ever been like on the highway and be like, oh my God, like what's that smell like? That's usually sulfur.
And it's Joe
Yeah,
Johnson.
and if you hang out at like a volcano, you would smell sulfur. So I guess that's what he does.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're not gonna leave Andrew all by himself on this one. If you go to a game and you don't really know what Andrew looks like, you can certainly just look in the stands and see Andrew's face in the middle of the crowd. So, Andrew, can you please explain to us how this came about?
I mean, my sister, she's older and she's pretty artsy, and she was like, "Oh, Andrew, do you want like your head blown up for during the games in the crowd?" And I was like, "Yeah." So that's just kind of how it went. And every so often I'll look up and see it. It's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. But in all seriousness, what is it like playing with teammates that you are also able to relate to off the field as well?
It's pretty awesome. You get to play with your best friends, but you also get to live with them. And you see them at all times, and it's one of the greatest feelings in the world. Yeah.
That's nice. That's very nice. Tom?
And now, you guys are seniors, 2 games left. Do you feel that you have made your mark and had your impact on the Monmouth University football team?
I would definitely like to think so. I think that the younger guys, us three especially, I think the younger guys can look up to us. I think they feel comfortable, and I think that we've laid out a good framework for how you're supposed to handle your business while you're here at Monmouth University.
All right, so last question, we'll let all of you answer. This Saturday is your last home game as a Monmouth Hawk. How does it feel going into the last game that's home for the season?
It's a pretty crazy feeling. You know, it's the last time I play a game on Kessler Field. You know, a place that I've made my home these last 5 years, and it's crazy. The next time I'll be stepping on like the field is for another game is coming back as an alumni. So it's a pretty crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's bittersweet. I mean, we've spent every day as working towards the Monmouth University football program. In a couple weeks, that'll all be over. So.
I mean, as Keem and Joe said, it's just going to be a crazy feeling. Just coming back as an alumni now, and I mean, we've been here for 5 years. Like Keem said, we've made it home, so it's going to be tough.
Well, that's all we have for today. I would like to thank Hakeem Vallis, Joe Johnson, and Andrew Jerzinski for joining us today. Congratulations on a wonderful career, and we know that you made us proud at the Extra Point, so we're sure that you made everyone else in the Monmouth community proud as well. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to head over to the Rival Zone, where friendships end and rivalries begin. Until then, I'm Lexi Swat, Tony Lynn Taranto, only on the Extra Point on Hawk TV, channel 12.1.
Did you do anything right? Time.
Shut up!
Don't tell me to shut up. I'll shut you up. You ain't going anywhere.
I said let go! Let go!
Don't tell me what to do.
Give me that. No, okay.
Stop
Please
telling
don't.
me what to do!
Welcome back to the Extra Point. We're here in the Rival Zone with Notori and Jen. Welcome, guys. Our first topic is going to be about our football team, who is doing pretty well in their second year in the Big South. I mean, they only lost by 3 to #1 Coastal Carolina. They have just 2 games remaining. So what are your guys' thoughts on how they're going to do?
You know, we're coming off of 2 pretty bad losses. You know, there are 2 games, you know, against #1 Coastal Carolina. It came within 3. It's a game where everybody counted us out. And, you know, we're going into 2 games. Senior day is this Saturday against Presbyterian. It's a game that we can win. You know, Presbyterian's 1-8. And then we play Gardner-Webb in our last game on the road. And, you know, I think that's also another game that we can win, too.
Honestly, I think our team is going to finish out pretty strong. These last 2 games, like, I'm going to have to agree. Presbyterian is 1-8. I think we're going to do amazing. I mean, again, with Coastal Carolina, people thought we were going to lose, get blown out by like 40. And I think we played an amazing game, even though we only lost by 3, which was only by a field goal. I'm just saying, we could have won that game as well. And I was excited to see them play that game, and I wish I was going to be able to see them play this week, but I think they're going to finish out really strong.
What do you think the difference is this year compared to other years?
Well, I think, you know, they're getting experience against these teams, and it's not their rookie season in the Big South anymore, you know, so we're getting more comfortable with our opponents. And I think the team themselves, they've, you know, gelled together, and they're figuring out, you know, what moves to make against teams. Although, you know, we have taken some penalties this year that have killed us, and, you know, turnovers in games. That's things that they have to improve on for next season.
I think based off their injuries, they're coming back really strong. This is their second time in the Big South, so it's amazing to see them continue to progress, and I think that's one of the major differences as well.
All right, we're going to move on to topic 2, which is going to be our men's basketball team, who is supposed to have a great year this year. They have some tough opponents coming up, though. They're traveling to California this weekend to play UCLA and USC. Do you want to talk a little bit about your predictions on how their season's going to go?
Well, you know, they're starting off the season on the road, you know, they're traveling almost 9,000 miles before they're even, you know, coming home to have a home game. So that's a really tough way to, you know, begin their season. But they were predicted to finish second in the MAC. And I think, you know, with returning Deion Jones and Justin Robinson, I think that, you know, we're going to have a pretty good season this year. I think that we could beat, you know, defending champs Iona for the title for sure.
I think the boys are going to have an amazing season this year. Speaking of their first exhibition game last Saturday, they played an amazing game. They came out right on top, played their hearts out. It was great to see Jelana and Micah come off the bench and experience their game firsthand. And they came right off the bench, ready to score, ready to play. Their boys' defense was amazing. Honestly, I would see them winning the championship this year, honestly.
Do you think it helps that they have such a big group of key reserve people from last year that are coming back?
Definitely. All the returners, having Deion Jones, Colin Stewart, Justin Robinson, all of them, it's amazing because now they all know how to work well with each other.
Definitely, and it's their team this year, you know, with, you know, Andrew Nicholas and Max DeLeo gone into, you know, it's their time to step up into those roles, and I think, you know, this team's got something to prove this year, and I think they're definitely going to do it.
All right, well, we have to take a short commercial break, but we'll be right back, so stay tuned for more Extra Point.
And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
I said, 'cause 2 can keep a secret is one of them is dead.
Welcome back to the Extra Point. We're in the middle of the Rival Zone, and our third and last topic of the night is going to be the Monmouth women's basketball team. Now, they have a lot of returners coming back, but it's going to be interesting, especially with their star player, Helena Kurt. She tore her ACL, so she is out for the season. How do you think they're going to bounce back from that and just get through that?
You know, losing her, that's a key piece to the team, and I think they're definitely going to hurt from that. You know, they're predicted to finish 9th in the MAC, and I don't know, I just don't really think that they're going to do too hot this season, so.
I'm going to disagree. I mean, I feel as though, like, the girls, they will have a good run. Losing Helena Kirk is pretty huge, but, like, again, they do have returners as well, with Sarah Olsen, Jemiah Bethune, Jasmine Walker, and Christina Mitch in the center. She's strong inside and strong outside. I mean, I think the girls have a good run for their money.
What do you think their keys to success should be for this season?
Well, again, it's their second year or third year in the MAC for basketball, so I think just, going in against these teams and getting more comfortable playing them, they are on the road for a little bit, so you like the men, so just taking those games, at a time and, fixing your mistakes and, looking forward to the next game.
Definitely fixing their mistakes. I think their defense, if they pick that up, I think it would be better. Defense does win games. Transitioning as well, they are definitely going to need that. Going up and down the court, it's going to need to happen in order for them to do better.
Yeah, and who do you think they'll struggle most with in the MAC this year?
I remember reading that Quinnipiac and Marist and them are top couple teams in the league, Fairfield too. I think, just going up against teams like that, and those are the games you want to be on your, A team for, and, not making any mistakes, and, I don't know, I think you got to be, really well prepared to take on opponents like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Opponents, yes, as big as that, but they also do have opponents as small that they can defeat. For instance, Niagara, I think they can defeat them. Quinnipiac might be their strongest, and I think as long as they continue as what they're doing with transitioning and getting better at their defense, they'll definitely pick up.
All right, it is that time. I have to pick a winner. They both, can we tie? Because, I went back and forth. You both had such good points. No ties? I don't know. Well, since we had two basketball segments, and I thought, Natalia, you really are into the basketball, so I'll give you the win. But Jen, I'm telling you, very close find. So you both did great. But unfortunately, we have to throw out a commercial, so we will be right back. Stay tuned for more Extra Point.
I am who I am.
I am who I am.
I am who I am.
I am who I am because I had a great teacher.
A great teacher is a work of art.
A great teacher is a key to success.
A great teacher can change your life.
A great teacher changed my life.
Linda Bodie.
Hunter Frost.
Mr. Isaacson.
Mr. Khan.
I learned that I didn't need to be like everybody else.
I learned that everything is possible.
I learned not to sweat the small stuff.
I learned that you can approach knowledge with a sense of wonder and fun.
I didn't learn how to speak Spanish, even though she was my Spanish teacher, but I did learn how to be myself.
Mr. Isaacson, it's been a long time, but thank you.
Emily Darcy, Craig Smith, thank you very much.
Thank you, Hunter Frost.
Mr. Glass, I thank you.
Charlotte Pace, thank you.
To each and every one of my teachers, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Gifford, and welcome to the Twitter segment. Let's get right into this. Our first tweet comes from ESPN. It says, Rams reach deal with free agent wide receiver Wes Welker after Stedman Bailey's suspension.
This is kind of a scary moment for Wes Welker. He's obviously had a lot of concussion issues in the past few years, and the fact he's even on the field playing, he's taken a lot of his personal future and personal risk into this, but he obviously really wants to play.
I mean, he had 3 concussions in 10 months with the Broncos. I cannot believe he's even thinking about coming back to the NFL.
And it's not like he's in his prime either. You know, he just at the back end of his career where he has a lot of this risk, so we'll see how well this plays out for him.
Yeah.
Our second tweet of the day comes from Daniel Hudson regarding some very sad news this morning. It reads, incredibly saddened to hear the news about Tommy Hanson. Thoughts go out to his friends and family. Little background, Tommy Hanson was a pitcher in the Atlanta Braves organization and Los Angeles Angels organization. He died from a catastrophic organ failure, fell into a coma, and later died from it. Some really sad news from the baseball world.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Tommy Hanson pitch against the Phillies. He was a very, very solid pitcher, and it's a sad loss to the MLB.
He was one of the bright young stars in baseball coming up with the Braves, was supposed to be really good, hurt his arm, and now this happens. Some really sad news.
Yeah. All right, our third tweet comes from ESPN. Breaking, New York Attorney General calls DraftKings and FanDuel illegal gambling and sends cease and desist notice.
After a big weekend of sports and a lot of news coming out, this is probably the biggest news that we've seen. This is huge, daunting legal action against FanDuel and DraftKings. We'll see how they respond, but New York is the largest market for daily fantasy. It's where they get about 10% of all of their gaming, and it's New York. That's obviously a very big deal that they decided this.
This is very scary. I am a fantasy addict. I don't know what I'd do without FanDuel.
Yeah, and FanDuel is also stationed in New York, so that cease and desist means they need to stop operating. So we'll see where they go here from this. This is some very, very bad news for them. Our last and final tweet comes from SportsCenter. Antonio Gates passes Shannon Sharp for third most receptions by a tight end. Only Tony Gonzalez and Jason Witten have more. What do all guys have in common? All going to be or in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I am a Chargers fan, so I am thrilled he's in the top 3 now. He's not far from getting number 2 spot.
Just like those guys, like Tony Gonzalez will be a future Hall of Famer, so will Jason Witten. We'll see Antonio Gates in Canton in not too many years. Well, my Twitter fingers are tired, and it's now time to send it back to Danielle for the show wrap-up.
Thanks, guys. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys want to see anything else covered, contact us at Hawk TV. Tune in next week for more news in the world of sports. But until then, we want you to get the point.